All right, this ain't your usual all about Scorpio audio recording. I think I would prefer to talk about 90s era this time. Most especially about 90s movie. Of course, the 90s music, it's really great. I have a list of bands, artists that I really like, or the songs that I used to listen back in the 90s. I'm an 80s girl, definitely. I love New Wave. I grew up listening to New Wave, and 90s was definitely, also an influential one for me. And for the rest of those, peeps out there who can definitely relate to what I'm saying. But I'm going to focus more on the film this time. That was because I was just watching some movies back in the 90s, and it just suddenly hit me. I was like thinking, and suddenly, I was like thinking, oh my God, there are lots and lots of great films back in the 90s as well. Not just the music, but even the films, As for the music, I would have to say the 80s and 90s, they were the best, really. Even if you look up YouTube, and then go search your favorite 80s new wave band or your 90s band, a lot of the YouTubers there would really comment like, there's nothing as, better back in the 90s and 80s. Or, people would normally say that, the music that we have recently, or the latest music that we have right now, is not as good back in the 90s or 80s, which I would definitely agree. There is something, not just in films, but also in music. There is something about the 80s and 90s era, or probably the earlier years before that. I think what I would have to say was, and this is just an opinion of mine, it's because of originality. There's a sense of, I'm not saying that the music nowadays or the movies being filmed nowadays are not as original or not as good as, in the past, but I would have to say definitely there are a lot of great movies back then compared to the movies that were being, released, especially early, 2000 or mid 2000, it's definitely, there's a huge difference there. So anyway, let me go ahead and give you some list of the movies that I was actually, watching back in the 90s, or those memorable movies that I used to watch back then. And probably some of you were actually listening to this audio recording would definitely agree to it. This is like a throwback Thursday, although it's already Friday here in Manila. But I was actually watching the movie The Crow, and I love Brandon Lee. He was so brilliant and really hot too. And the movie was so great. It was, I was watching it after how many decades? The last time I watched it, I was still in elementary, actually. So I decided to try to watch the movie, just something pop into my head. And man, I tell you, it's already 2016, and watching the movie was so freaking great. It was so great. And Brandon Lee was really, really great, and very talented and very deep. Too bad he actually died, accidental death, when shooting that film, one of the scenes there. Anyway, so the list of 1990s film, I'll just, give you some of the list. Let's start off with, of course, back in the 90s, we have The Ghost. We have Home Alone. Oh my God, when I was a kid, I was also hooked into watching it. I was like, I don't know. Macaulay Culkin was, was really big back then. And then, of course, there goes Pretty Woman. There's Dances with Wolves. There's Die Hard. What else? I was trying to look out for some films back then. Terminator, yeah. Then there's Hook. What else? Oh, Cape Fear, yeah. I was actually checking out some of the 90s film here. And, yeah, Cape Fear was one of those. But one of the biggest, The Bodyguard, of course. I think that was back in 1992. Then Basic Instinct. Oh my God, Sharon Stone. Sharon Stone. She was also one of my favorite actresses. You know, she really is, one great actress. And, she's not only, you know, she doesn't only possess the beauty and the sex appeal and all that because of those racy films, but she's also pretty much intelligent, you know, an intelligent woman. And then there goes, what else? A Few Good Men, and also one of my favorite 90s film, there you go, Bram Stoker's Dracula. I love that because I like Gary Oldman. Gary Oldman is also one of my favorite actors, and then, of course, Winona Ryder was also there. So those were one of my favorite films. What else? So let's try to jump to 1993. 1993, there goes Jurassic Park, Mrs. Doubtfire, The Fugitive, Schindler's List, The Firm, Indecent Proposal, Cliffhanger, Sleepless in Seattle, Philadelphia, the AIDS one, right? And then The Pelican Brief, all of the movies, the top 10 movies back in 1993, yeah, that I'm checking out right now. Those were really memorable. I remember, back then I was still in, almost before I stepped into high school that time. And, you know, my classmates and I, we actually, most of my friends back then were actually guys. Ever since I was a kid, I was surrounded with, you know, a lot of boyfriends, but mostly because I'm kind of tomboyish. So most of my friends were guys. And I remember back then we actually watched Jurassic Park, and we're like a group of, what, almost 20? We're like, oh no, 15? And it was so fun. It was so fun. It brings back a lot of great memories. I like also Mrs. Doubtfire because I like, and rest in peace, by the way, Robin Williams. And, of course, one of the remarkable films, you have Philadelphia, and then Schindler's List, of course. Sleepless in Seattle, really, you know, really romantic. Okay, 1994. Let's move on to 1994 films. So we're trying to talk about the 90s film this time. 1994, there goes The Lion King. Yeah. Simba. Okay. Forrest Gump. Life is like a box of chocolates. Okay. True Lies. I think True Lies is Arnold Schwarzenegger. And I forgot, Jamie Curtis? I forgot. And then The Mask. Oh my God. There goes. Jim Carrey, and Speed. I think Speed was Keanu Reeves, yeah. And who's that woman, that actress? Sandra Bullock. Yeah, I just, you know, was trying to remember it. Oh my God. Flintstones, Dumb and Dumber, Four Weddings and a Funeral. Oh, okay, Hugh Grant. And then Interview with a Vampire. Oh my God, The Vampire Chronicles. And then Clear and Present Danger. So among the list, the top 10 lists for 1994 films, I would have to say one of the best, or my favorite would be Interview with a Vampire, The Vampire Chronicles. I really like Tom Cruise. He's not really my uber favorite actor. He's not my favorite actor, actually. But then I was able to somehow try to appreciate him on some of his films, because especially in this movie, for some reason, it was so great. He really did a freaking good job of Lestat. You know, I don't think that no one can actually replace him. I don't think that no actor can actually portray the role that he did back in the 90s as Lestat. He really did it so freaking well. I don't know. I find Tom Cruise, like, you know, just, you know, really like the guy next door, good looks and all that. But on that film, really, I was so amazed. Not just the Mission Impossible and all that, but really for his role as Lestat, he really did a freaking good job. And, in fact, I like his role where I was able to appreciate him a lot better than Brad Pitt. Yeah, because Brad Pitt was there, right? So, I really like Lestat. It was such a bitch, that film. Okay. Anyway, let's move on to 1995, the top 10 1995 films. Okay. So we have Die Hard with a Vengeance, Bruce Willis, okay. And then Toy Story, okay. Apollo 13, GoldenEye, okay. Pocahontas, Batman Forever, Seven, oh my God, speaking of Brad Pitt, Casper, Waterworld, and Jumanji. Okay, I remember Casper. I was like in grade 6 during that time, elementary, yeah. So that was 1995, huh? So I was still in elementary back then. Okay, yeah, because my classmates were really, fond of Casper. I forgot the name of the character. I mean, the actor, rather. I think, was that Brad Renfro? Because my classmates, they were like really, flushing over, I think it was Brad Renfro. I'm not sure. But, was it? I don't think so. No, there was another movie about, there's this, no, it's Devon Sawa. There you go. I remember that now. There's this one film, because they also like Brad Renfro. I just forgot the title, but I got it confused. But yeah, Devon Sawa was, one of the stars of, Casper. And my classmates, especially the girls, really like it. I don't. Anyway, so among the top 10 lists that we have here for year 1995, I would have to say my favorite would be Seven by Brad Pitt. Okay, earlier I said I didn't like Brad Pitt for his role Louis in Interview with a Vampire, and I really like Lestat a lot better, and Tom Cruise again pulled it off so freaking well. But when it comes to the movie Seven, I like it, I like it. And then, I think, Brad Pitt was with his former girlfriend back then, Gwyneth Paltrow, and of course, Morgan Freeman. It was one of my favorite films, really. Seven, The Seven Deadly Sins. And Kevin Spacey was also there, so, yeah, so among the top 1995 films, I would have to say my pick would be Seven. Now, let's move on to 1996. Okay, what are the top 10 1996 film? There goes Independence Day. What's that? I forgot his name. What's his name? Will Smith? Yeah, Will Smith. And then there goes Twister, Mission Impossible, The Rock, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, 101 Dalmatians, Ransom, The Nutty Professor, Jerry Maguire, and Eraser. Okay. So among the top 10 films here, I would have to say I'd go for the Jerry Maguire. Tom Cruise again. He's not really my favorite actor, right? But, not one of my ultimate favorites. But, yeah, he did also pretty well in that film. And, I'm seeing 2 films for that year, huh? You have Mission Impossible and then, Jerry Maguire. Anyway, off to 1997. Okay, 1997. For 1997, the top 10 films, Titanic, oh my God. And number 2, The Lost World, Jurassic Park, Men in Black, Tomorrow Never Dies, Air Force One, As Good as It Gets, Liar Liar, My Best Friend's Wedding, The Fifth Element, and finally, The Full Monty. Of course, a lot of people would pick Titanic, and really, it was one of the biggest blockbusters of all time. But honestly, I wasn't able to watch it. And while all of my classmates at that time, they were really, really, again, flushing over Leonardo DiCaprio, I find it a bit cheesy at that time, so I didn't watch it. Just to be really blunt about it, okay? So I didn't watch it. But I think I watched it after 5 years or 6, and everybody was like, oh my God, are you kidding me? You really didn't watch it the first time it was released? Because here in the Philippines, they tried to not really re-release it, but there was a time that they tried to show the movie in the theaters. I think that was back in early 2000, if I'm not mistaken, because it was so big, right? But I didn't care about it. Yeah, I don't know. But among the list here, I would have to say I wanted My Best Friend's Wedding. I really like it. Julia Roberts was there, and it was a great movie. You know, it's funny at the same time. So yeah, I'd go for My Best Friend's Wedding. I don't know. I'm not gonna pit Titanic. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna be really blunt about it. But also, of course, Air Force One was great, and Liar Liar too. I like Liar Liar. Jim Carrey was, you know, again, for me, he's a really, you know, a great comedian. Definitely. Okay, up to 1998. 1998 films. Number one, we have Armageddon. Okay. And then we have Saving Private Ryan, Godzilla, There's Something About Mary, A Bug's Life, Deep Impact, Mulan, Dr. Dolittle, Shakespeare in Love, and Lethal Weapon number 4. I would definitely pick 2 of the films here that I really wanted back in the 90s, or 1998 to be very specific. I would go for Saving Private Ryan. Really loved that movie. One of my favorite movies as well. And then There's Something About Mary. And, you know, with that film, Something About Mary, it was really, really memorable. I watched it together with my late father. It was so fun, you know, especially that part when there's that white thing, and you know what I'm talking about. And then, you know, Cameron Diaz was like, you know, she thought it was some sort of like a hair cream or what. So funny, I tell you. And it was, you know, it was a great movie, and it brings back a lot of great memories too. So for 1998, I would go for, again, Saving Private Ryan, and There's Something About Mary. And finally, for 1999, okay, 1999, we also have Star Wars Episode 1, The Sixth Sense. Oh my God, I didn't know that was back in 1999, really. Toy Story 2, of course, The Matrix, Tarzan, The Mummy, Notting Hill, The World Is Not Enough, American Beauty, oh my God, and then Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me. So I think I have a lot of favorite films back in 1999 before I moved to 2000, the decade, okay. My favorite for 1999, I'd go for The Sixth Sense, really, really great film, and it's not the Ghost or any other, you know, films out there. A lot of psychics and their clairvoyance, by the way, could really relate to that film. So I really like that one too. The Matrix, oh my God, who doesn't love Matrix? I mean, and again, just like Tom Cruise, who played a really great, you know, job or portrayed the role of Lestat so freaking well on as Lestat for Interview with the Vampire, I would have to say that the perfect guy for The Matrix was definitely Keanu Reeves. And I think he tried to donate something, all of his earnings from that movie. You know, he's a good guy, man. So I really like The Matrix, very original. Again, the movie was, or still is, original. And I like it. It was one of my, you know, favorite films back in the 90s. And another film that I would really want to say that I really like it too, and it was one of my favorite films back in the 90s, that was American Beauty. Warren, no, it's Kevin Spacey. I was thinking about Warren Beatty. No, Kevin Spacey, because Annette Bening was there. There you go. Because Annette Bening was, you know, related or linked to Warren Beatty. But American Beauty was also one of the, you know, best films I've ever watched back in the 90s. I was like surprised. I'm kind of like surprised because, of course, they didn't name The Crow here. And I'm pretty sure there's still far more 90s film. Clueless, you know, because I just name all of those top 10 high grossing films or highest grossing films back then. But I'm pretty sure there's so many 90s movie that was, you know, that was released back then. And but I really like The Crow, really. I just watched it just now, and it was like, oh my God, it brings back a lot of great memories. And I think just like, just like Keanu Reeves doing a good job portraying the role of Neo for Matrix. I think there's no one who could actually do a really, awesome work, just like what Brandon Lee did back in The Crow. I'm not sure if there are any plans for another rerun of it or whatever, but I think he was, really perfect for the role, and he put all of his heart for it, all of his heart for that film, and he considered it as one of the, the best films he has gotten his hands to. So, yeah. But anyway, there's so many films here. I was trying to, back in 1997, we have Con Air, Billy Madison, what else? Juice, The Last of the Mohicans, I remember that. Oh my God, back in 1999, they just didn't name it, but we also have the Blair Witch Project. Oh my God. Yeah, Blair Witch Project. I remember I watched that film with my brother, and we were like so spooked out, really. And we thought at first it was really real, that this was, all of the videos that were taken on that film were actually real, and it was not just a reenactment or what. At that time, we thought it was really real, but it was a great movie, too. Really spooky, I tell you. And, what else? Oh, yeah, Boys in the Hood, 1991. What's his name? Cuba Gooding Jr. There you go. And then, who's that other guy, rapper? Ice Cube. Yeah, what else? We have Thelma and Louise back in 1991. Oh my God, yeah, back in 1990, one of my favorite films, Edward Scissorhands, Johnny Depp. Also a wonderful film for me. It's not part of the highest grossing films, but yeah, it's really good to mention that Edward Scissorhands is also one of the best movies back in the 90s. One of the best, really. Because I like Tim Burton. And then, he was with Winona Ryder. Johnny Depp was with Winona Ryder. I don't know how to pronounce her name, really, but she's a Scorpio, by the way. Anyway, then there goes Scream, 1996. Oh my God. Yeah, that was really, a very famous film back then. Fight Club. Yeah, Brad Pitt. And then what else? Thin Red Line. What else? There are lots of film. Good Will Hunting. Yeah. And then White Man Can't Jump. Yeah, 1992. Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson. Oh, wow. Brings back a lot of great memories. Point Break. Yeah, Keanu Reeves. JFK, yeah, I remember that. And, of course, The Usual Suspects, 1995 film. I love this, too. Definitely. I really like Kevin Spacey, too, and Benicio del Toro. And, especially, there's this actor, I think it was great, was it? Yeah, Gabriel, I think, was his name. Or his name, whatever. What else? The Shawshank Redemption. Oh my God, I can't believe it. I knew it. When I was like checking the list of the 1990s film, and I didn't know that I accidentally clicked on the highest grossing films. But yeah, Shawshank Redemption, even though it wasn't part of it, it was one of my top 10 favorite movies, really, back in the 90s. I love it. Really, really love that film. And then, what else? We have, Silence of the Lambs. Oh my God. I knew it. There are a lot of great films back in 1991. Oh, wow. Did you hear that? That's, a fire truck. Anyway, Silence of the Lambs, 1991. Oh my God. I knew it. There are lots and lots of great films that were made back in the 90s, in that whole 10 years. And then, of course, we also have Pulp Fiction. Wow. Okay. Anyway, I think that's about it. I'm pretty sure there's still a lot more films But hold on, let me just, browse a little. We also have Pulp Fiction, Hook, Falling Down, Bitter Moon, GoldenEye, 1995, Stargate, I already mentioned, Blair Witch Project, Good Will Hunting, yeah. What else? Great Expectations, oh my god, see, 1998. So many great movies back in the 90s. I don't know. I could really name a lot, but that's why I needed to Google it, because there's so many great films. Men in Black. Yeah, I think I mentioned that earlier. Nixon. Yeah, Nixon. Lolita. Yes, I did watch that. Although it wasn't really that too popular. But for me, it's a good film. It really is a good film. What else? Babe. And what else? Run, Lola, Run. Yep. Of course. What's Eating Gilbert Grape? There you go. Because I know that most of the movies that I really want, or that I really, fell in love with, are back in the 90s. There's something about the 90s films, especially when it comes to, the movies or the films. What's Eating Gilbert Grape? I really like, Johnny Depp and Leonardo DiCaprio did a really great job as well, portraying his role. And of course, I like Natural Born Killers too, back in 1994. That's Woody Harrelson and my favorite actress, Juliette Lewis. Okay, who else? A Few Good Men, or what else? Three Kings. There you go. The Crow is all, finally, it was mentioned in there. Les Miserables. Mulan, yeah. Boys Don't Cry, yeah, 1999. Yeah, I also, one of the greatest films of, not really the greatest, but one of the, the films I also, enjoyed watching. That's Boys Don't Cry, which is based on a true story. Hilary Swank did a really good job there. I think she won the Oscar for that. What else? The Pelican Brief. Scent of a Woman. Al Pacino, one of my favorite actors, definitely. Al Pacino. And then 12 Monkeys, and then 7 Years in Tibet. That was a long list there, I guess. But here's the next one. We're still not done yet. Okay, next one would be, so again, we started off with the highest grossing films. Now we're just naming all of the movies back in the 90s. Alright, so we have Malcolm X, The Talented Mr. Ripley, True Lies, King of New York, and The Line of Fire, yeah, Clint Eastwood. California, yeah, that was Brad Pitt and Juliette Lewis. I also like that film. Heavenly Creatures, Cool Runnings, yeah, 1993. And then, yeah, I think I mentioned Scream already. Enemy of the State. This is also one of my ever favorite films. Enemy of the State. Gene Hackman was a genius there. I like him. I really like that movie. Will Smith also did really, really well in that film. So, yeah, seeing this again brings back a lot of great memories. So, definitely, that was one of my favorite. What else? Legends of the Fall. I had a crush on Brad Pitt back then. Actually, I had a crush on him. It started when I watched that film, Legends of the Fall. He was really, really hot on that film. And, yeah, that was year 1994. What else? Mighty Aphrodite. Yeah, I remember that. Being John Malkovich, 1999. Oh, yeah. There you go. Singles. That's why I actually tried to like one of the soundtrack for one of the songs based on the soundtrack of Singles. Singles was also a 1990 film back in the 1990s, specifically 1992. I really like that movie. Matt Dillon, he's so hot. Okay. Dead Man Walking. My Girl. Who would forget that? My Girl. Even though I don't like Macaulay Culkin on that film, I like, and Anna Schlumsky. Whatever happened to Anna Schlumsky, man? But that, brings back a lot of great memories. I was so pretty small back then. I was back in elementary, 1991. And I really like that movie, My Girl. Okay, what else? The Green Mile, yeah, great movie too. The People versus Larry Flint. You know what? Woody Harrelson, he did a lot of great films, I tell you. What else? The Insider, Hamlet, Desperado, okay, Antonio Banderas, Leaving Las Vegas, and then Damage. I don't know Damage. I don't know. Not pretty much familiar to me, but yeah, one of the best films, 250 best films of the 90s. And then, of course, we have Sense and Sensibility, To Die For, Batman, Mask of the Phantasm. Oh my God, Alien 3. I also like Aliens. I know it really started back in the 80s, early 80s, but also that was one of my favorite films. Sigourney Weaver. Again, there are some characters that are specifically for them, for a specific actor or actress, that nobody can replace them, really. They really did well portraying their roles, really. So Sigourney Weaver, she's definitely, one of the best pick for that role, and I don't think someone can actually replace her for that. Alien, yeah, I remember that. And also, there you go. That's why I knew it. There were, a lot of movies back in the 90s that I really liked. That's why I tried to do a recording for this. American History X. I don't know if you guys watched that, but I like it as well. Edward Norton is really, also, again, one of my favorite actors. I think it was with Edward Furlong at that time, but yeah, a great movie, really. I would really suggest it. If you wanted to, try to do a throwback Thursday, although it's already Friday, but if you feel like going back and watching the films that you used to watch back then, I would, that was also one of the movies that I would really suggest. What else? Chaplin, yeah, I watched that. 1992. I was also with my brother at that time. We watched it. It was a great movie, yeah. The Doors, oh my God, yeah. What's the name of that actor? He was, in the movie The Saint. I really, really like him. And I really like the movie The Saint. I'm not sure if it was back in the 90s. We'll see if it's going to be listed in here. What's his name? Oh my God, I forgot his name. He was also in, I forgot his name. The Doors. It was portrayed by this actor who was also the guy from The Saint. Man, I forgot his name, really. Anyway, probably I'll remember later on. Anyway, My Cousin Vinny. Yeah, great film too. The Truman Show. Yeah, kind of sad though for Jim Carrey. The character of Jim Carrey back then. Cape Fear. What else? Misery. Oh God, I love Misery. I think it was based from the book of Stephen King, Misery. Great film too. And then Sleepers. Yeah, I remember Sleepers. Of course, 1994. Who would have, forgotten Reality Bites? Ben Stiller, Ethan Hawke, and Winona Ryder again. Really cool film. Also one of my favorites. What else? That Thing You Do, Man in the Moon, The Hurricane. What else? A River Runs Through It. Yeah. Brad Pitt again. And then Nikita La Femme. Nikita. Also a good movie. The Piano. Yeah. What else? The Rock. Man, so many films here back in the 90s, I tell ya. It's a good thing, they were able to, to keep track of it. It's something that you wanted to look back to, and especially that there are online movie streamings that you can do when you're actually bored, just like what I did earlier before, after dinner. I decided, instead of just, playing DVD or, I decided to do online movie streaming, and I decided to watch the movie, The Crow. So it's something that you can really, go back to. What else? Hamlet, Donnie Brasco, yeah, Donnie Brasco. I think that was Robert. No, 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 that wasn't Robert De Niro. Al Pacino. What else? Apollo 13. In the Name of the Father, Daniel Day-Lewis. Yeah, good actor too. What else? The English Patient, also a great film. Stalingrad. What else? I think I already named Thelma and Louise earlier. Oh my God, From Dusk Till Dawn. Yeah, From Dusk Till Dawn. Salma Hayek was so sexy, doing that dance with that really big snake. And what else? Sleepy Hollow. I love that because I like not Brad Pitt. What am I saying? I like Johnny Depp so much. So yeah, I love Sleepy Hollow. That was back in 1999. And then we have Ronin. Oh my God, one of my favorite movies too. Ronin. Robert De Niro. Yeah. What else? The Bridges of Madison County. Pretty controversial. Meryl Streep, right? If you still remember, back in 1995. And then we have Age of Innocence, and of course, The Addams Family back in 1991, although not one of my favorite films. Alright, so what's the next list? Oh my God, see? I knew it. Who could have forgotten Leon the Professional? And this is definitely, if not one of the top 3 films that I really adore. I love Leon the Professional, and I like all of the actors there, almost all of the actors there, especially Gary Oldman. Gary Oldman is also one of my favorite actors, aside from Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, Edward Norton, and a lot more actors out there, but definitely Gary Oldman is part of my top 10 favorite actors. He's really great. He was really, really great. And Jean Reno, yeah, really perfect for the role of the hitman. And of course, one of my favorite actresses, Natalie Portman. And she was just a really young kid at that time in that film. Really great film. If you haven't watched it or you're not familiar with it, I would really suggest for you to watch it, because some of the, my friends who didn't even know it, like, they don't know Leon. Like, what is that? They said The Professional. It's a great film, action film, snipers and all that. And we're like, I haven't heard about it. And then when they tried searching for it and watching it, they came to love it, really. So, if you haven't really watched that, I would suggest Leon the Professional. It was back in 1994, my God. Anyway, what else? Gattaca. Yeah, I like Gattaca too. Ethan Hawke. And then, that was his former girlfriend, if not wife. What's her name? Uma Thurman. There you go. What else? Trainspotting. Yeah, I like Trainspotting. And then Edward Scissorhands. Yeah, I think I mentioned that earlier. What else? Patriot Games. What else? I think I already mentioned JFK. Yeah, I did. Oh, there you go. The Hunt for Red October, 1990. Great film, definitely. Magnolia. Yeah. And then we also have Fargo. Yeah, I already mentioned. The Godfather Part 3. Okay, what else? The Thin Red Line, Dances with Wolves, yeah, I already did mention that earlier. American Beauty, of course. Unforgiven, yeah, that movie was, and it was, a lot of famous actors in that film, right? You have Clint Eastwood, you have Morgan Freeman, you have Gene Hackman. It's a great movie, too. Unforgiven. Okay, what else? Braveheart, Casino, Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction. Yeah, Pulp Fiction. Okay, I think that's about it. I think that completes one of the best films of the 90s. I'm not sure we actually missed out on some of the best films or one of the movies back in 1990s, but those were, one of my favorites, really. There's really something about the 90s film, and it's great to just, try to look back every now and then. And again, like what I mentioned earlier, I'm not saying that, you don't get to see great films nowadays. Of course, there's still some films that, that you would say that was really well done, and it was, was really original at the same time. But I definitely would have to say it's nothing compared back in the 80s and 90s. I don't know. Even in music videos, haven't you noticed that? Even in music videos, not just the music itself. If you go to YouTube, I'll just repeat what I said earlier in the recording. A lot of YouTubers would definitely, comment and say, they would really miss the 90s and the 80s, definitely, because of, the great songs back then. Probably because, and a lot, even, taxi drivers, and whenever I tried to, chit chat with drivers, they would also say the same things, they would tell me that there's nothing compared back in the 80s, the new wave era, because the music nowadays, it's just so full of crap. Like, either it's just full of, showing of skin, the lyrics weren't really that thought of, or not that too original, something like that. So I would definitely agree. Now, when it comes to the movies, I think the same thing applies. Even the music videos, So anyway, those are, the list of films that I really, like back in the 90s. And I think before going to sleep, I'm going to try to watch another film back in the 90s before going to bed. Okay. So hopefully those lists of films that I tried to mention earlier, somehow those help you in a way to reminisce, right? Or to go back to the days, especially those who can really relate. Now, if you're way too young, I'm sorry, but I would, still encourage you to watch it, even if you weren't born at that time yet. But definitely there's a difference between the movies that were being made now versus the movies that were made back in the 80s, 70s, or even 40s and, 90s, or early 2000. So, anyway, I gotta go. Thank you so much for watching, rather listening, okay? And I appreciate it, okay? I'll get back to you with more interesting topics. See ya. Bye.